the most important conversation. Welcome to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. My name is Wendy McClure, and it's time we had a conversation about living in a patriarchy and how that affects our lives. Together, we can make a difference and change the conversation. Welcome back to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. I am Wendy McClure. I am so happy that you are here, and I'm so super excited about this episode today because my dear friend Marcy, who posted something in the Hopefulist Facebook group page yesterday, entails exactly the reason that I do this podcast, the exact reason that I am so determined to change these conversations. It's the exact reason why I renamed this podcast, Change the Conversation. But it's done in an eloquent and concise manner that I have not been able to do before. It is a little lengthy, so hang in there. But this is what we are trying to do. It starts, we talk about how many women were raped last year, not how many men raped women. We talk about how many girls in a school district were harassed last year, not about how many boys harassed girls. We talk about how many teenage girls in the state of Texas got pregnant last year, rather than how many boys and men impregnated teenage girls. So you can see how the use of passive voice has political effect. It shifts the focus off of men and boys and onto girls and women. Even the term violence against women, which I have been screaming about for at least a year now, is problematic. It's a passive construction. There's no active agent in the sentence. It's a bad thing that happens to women. But when you look at that term, violence against women, nobody's doing it to them. It just happens to them. Men aren't even a part of it. And this is written by someone named Jackson Katz. And that, in a nutshell, my lovelies, is exactly what I have been screaming about for the last year or two. About the conversations that we need to have, about the conversations that need to change, about the focus that we have and how they need to be shifted to be more accurate, to be more all-entailing of what is actually happening. Because as mentioned, teenage girls are not just getting pregnant. They're being impregnated. It's not just them alone. They're not going and getting pregnant by themselves. But that's the way it is discussed. Well, teenage pregnancy. What about the teenage boys that are engaging in the act that results in teenage pregnancy? We never discuss that. That's not even an issue in these discussions. Again, it is just expected that men are going to have sex and that women, when they do, need to face the consequences of that decision. And I just want to scream and jump up and down in my chair at how eloquent and how concise and how this message describes every single thing I have been talking about for years. And that is in the Facebook group page. And I will be posting this more and more and more because I think this little statement from Jackson Katz is exactly the kind of thing I've been trying to do, which is to show situations as they are, not as we've been conditioned to see them by society and patriarchy. When you read this statement, you have to think to yourself, I've never thought about it that way. And that, my friend, is just the beginning. Once you realize that these couple of things in this statement have been twisted in a way that takes away responsibility for those responsible, it's not just in that statement, it's everywhere. It is everywhere. And these are the conversations that we need to be having to start any type of change in this country for women. To be able to live in a society that doesn't hold them responsible for things that happen to them. That the victim blaming will end. You know, women are constantly put into these demographics of, well, this is what women do. This is how it is. This is what happens. You know, one of my favorite examples I go back to again and again. Women are nags. Well, that nagging wife. The nagging wife who has asked her husband 5 times to take out the trash. And on the 6th time, he's like, stop nagging me. Because the woman is the problem. Because the woman who's asked 5 times now and been ignored completely is the problem. According to that, it is. The woman is nagging that poor man. That poor man just doesn't want to do anything. He wants to ignore any responsibility that he has, and he will resent the fact that you continue to ask him to do something that he is responsible to do. Women are nags. Women are hysterical. Women are gold diggers. Women are selfish. What was she wearing? What was she drinking? These are all the ways that women are set up to take the fall, to take the blame of men behaving badly. When there's a divorce and a woman that has been a stay-at-home mom for 30 years has the audacity to ask for alimony, she's automatically a gold digger. Go out and get a job. Why can't you go out and get a job? Well, because her husband has worked in a field or at a company or at his own business for 30 years. He's had 30 years of experience, of promotions, of raises, of business. And when the woman starts, she has none of that. No experience, no chance at promotions, no pay raises. She starts out at minimum wage. And as we all know, you can't live on minimum wage, let alone support children. But no, we refuse to look at it that way. We refuse to say she gave up her career. She sacrificed her career, her chance to generate income for herself and for her children so that she could stay home and be the primary caretaker. So she could make sure that dinner was on the table every night for her husband, so that her husband could have the opportunity of having a family, having a wife, having a home that was taken care of while still having a career. And we paint women out to be bad when they expect to get something in return for the 30-year investment that they put in to that man, into that man's career, into that man's life. It's also convoluted. It truly is. And like I said, once you make that first realization, that is just the beginning. It's going to go on and on and on. And it's not your fault. I want you to remember that. It is not your fault. We have all been conditioned to think this way. But we also have to be the ones to start changing the conversation. We have to be the ones to take it out of the passive and make sure the active agent is being named. And that's what I've been saying all this time about men's violence against women. I've been saying that for years now. It's not violence against women because, again, as Jackson Katz pointed out, that's just something that happens to women. It's not anybody's fault. Yes, it is. It's men's fault. It's men's violence against women. And even with that, they still, society, patriarchy, tries to convince us that it was somehow the woman's fault that she was attacked. What was she wearing? What was she drinking? How much did she have to drink? What was she saying? Was she flirting? We make these statements as if that justifies what happened to her. Now, let me tell you a little story about women and how they dress. And it's not a story per se. It's just that women, from the time they are young, are taught to appeal to the male gaze. We are to try to be attractive for men. This is what is ingrained in us. Whether it's spoken in your household or it's read in books or on a TV show or in movies, it is everywhere in our culture. Women are to attract men. And we all know that the term sex sells. So what does that idea give to young, impressionable women that are looking for a little acceptance, that are looking for a little attention from males? Makes them dress a little bit sexier, makes them do their hair and their makeup in certain ways that they think will appeal to men. And then they're held accountable if something were to happen for dressing that way. Not only are they held accountable, but they're judged. They're judged for dressing a certain way, saying bad names, calling them names, telling them that they're asking for it, when they're just doing what society has deemed is necessary for them to do to attract a male. Do some girls go too far? Yes. Do some girls not go far enough? Yes. There's no line. There's no way to balance that line because it's all subjective. Who says that it's too much? Who are the fashion police? Who are the determinants of what is too much? Is it the government? Is it your family? Is it the institutions? Is it church? Who makes this determination? There is no one that makes this determination that it is a straight line. There isn't line. There's no line. I've said this before. You either are asking for it or you're not trying. You can either go out and have a good time and be called certain things, or you can stay at home and be homely. There's no line. I'm just trying to point out that these conversations are set up in a way for women to constantly take the fall, no matter what the situation is. It's more than just about the clothes that we wear, about the way that we live our lives, about the fact that we want a career as well as a family, and that means we're selfish. But men have been able to do that for centuries, and that's okay for them, but not for women. That's selfish of them. And then if you ask your husband to do something and he doesn't do it, and God forbid you ask again, you're the nag. It's setting women up to never be able to speak out about anything. Anything. You can't even ask your husband twice to take out the trash because then you're a nag. Then you're a nag. Well, you can just do it yourself. Well, yeah, I can just do everything myself, as we have been for many years. And it is killing us. It's the reason that women are overwhelmed, exhausted, stressed, medicated to the hilt, because they've been trying to do it all, and it's impossible. And instead of the men that claim to love us help, instead of them helping, they want things to stay the status quo because that lets them off the hook for everything. So let's get clear. I do not hate men. I do not. I'm married to a man. But I do hate the system that sets men up to be excused, downplayed, off the hook for the myriad of bad behavior that they do at the expense of women. Women are prisoners in this country for many different reasons. A woman can't come home from work and it's dark out and go for a run at night. If she does, she puts her safety at risk. So she can't do it. Because if she does, then she will be asked, well, what were you doing out after dark by yourself, running with headphones on? Why would you put yourself in that position? So let's look at it from the opposite point of view. Since men are the ones predominantly committing this violence against women, how about we keep men in the house after dark so women can be free to go out and feel safe? I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking. Well, you can't do that. You're punishing men for something they haven't done. You can't punish all men because some men are bad apples. But that's exactly what we've done to women for decades. We are not free to go outside our house when it's dark out. We are not free to go outside of our house when it is dark out. We are being punished because of men's bad behavior. And if we have the audacity to do it anyway, to go for a run at night, and we are attacked, then we asked for it. Then what did you think was going to happen? So don't tell me we're not prisoners in this country, because we are. We are not free to go about and live life as we choose. No, not if we want to be safe. But it's ridiculous when I say let's keep all men home after dark, since they're the perpetrators of these crimes. That's ridiculous. But it's not ridiculous that women can't go out after dark when they've done absolutely nothing wrong. Nothing. I want you to just sit with that for a little bit. Now, the other thing that I hate, in addition to these systems that constantly oppress women for the benefit of men, is the men who sit by and allow it to continue. I hate that men can't stand up and say, yes, this will take something from me, but I want women to have a fair shake in this country. I want women to be able to leave their house and feel safe. I really dislike it when men continue to support the systems that continuously and non-stop oppress the women in their lives. And it is getting worse every day. We just had a senator, I believe he's from Arizona, who said the best birth control for women is an aspirin between their knees. This is what we're telling women in 2024. These are the men who are making the decisions about our bodies. The disgust and the contempt that they have for women who would have the audacity to have sex for pleasure. That is what we're dealing with. And that is the system that I am against. So I want you to stand up in these conversations and correct the passive and include the active. It is not teenage pregnancies. It is boys and men who impregnate teenagers. It is the amount of men's violence against women, not just violence against women. It didn't just happen on its own. Men are the perpetrators of this violence predominantly. That's how we need to talk about it. And if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your daughter, for your granddaughter, for the women of today, and tomorrow, and the day after that. Because I know that it is scary. I know how afraid you feel because I have felt it. I still feel it. But it's too important to keep quiet about. It's gone on for too long. We have put up with it and put up with it and put up with it. And our reward for that is taking away more of our rights. That's what they're trying to do. That in spite of all of the odds against us women, we are still managing to be successful, to feel satisfaction, fulfillment, and happiness in life without depending on whether or not the man is included in that or not. We've been able to do it. In spite of all of these things that are set up, these systems that are set up to tear us down, we are still succeeding. And that is exactly why they are trying to take away more rights and more rights and more rights. Because the worst thing that can happen in this society, in a patriarchal society, is for women to realize that they don't need men for their happiness, for their survival, for really anything other than the mere fact that they want a man for companionship, to build a family with, to build a life together. And instead of becoming what women want from them, which would be good partners, people who share duties, people who are in it together, who want to make each other happy, that not one is more important than the other. Instead of doing some of those things, they'd rather just take rights away from us so that we will have to depend on a man again, and very soon. This is what I am fighting for. This is what has given me the courage and the confidence and the guts to keep screaming it from the rooftops, to keep saying it over and over again, to keep informing as many people as I possibly can, because I was one of you. I didn't believe it. I thought it was all hogwash. I thought, well, you can twist anything into your point of view if you want to. So I dismissed talk like this. And it wasn't until I really started to think about things, to see how skewed everything is, so that men automatically get off the hook and women automatically get judged for any bad behavior. And there's really just no other way to see it if you're willing to look. but you have to be willing to look. And things aren't going to get better by ignoring them. We have to be the ones to change the conversation. We have to be the ones to make lives better for those who come after us. We have to stand up and say, no more. We're not setting up the next generation of women to be abused, to be prisoners the way that we have been. It's got to stop. It's too important to stay quiet. So if you can't find the courage to speak up for yourself, speak up for your daughter. Speak up for your granddaughters. Speak up for all of the women you know in your life so that they have a better chance of success and fulfillment and satisfaction and happiness. That it won't be so hard for them like it was for us. There's a lot. Today was a lot. But I'm fired up. I am so fired up. And if you want to know more, please subscribe to my email. My email is on the website. All you have to do is go to the Hopefulist, and there is a subscribe button. All you have to do is click that, put in your email, free email newsletter. Tell your friends about it. I will be updating you constantly with updates on what's happening with our rights, with ways that you can have conversations with those that you love, ways that you can get people to see the truth about what is happening. I just want people to realize that everything has been against us women forever. And we have succeeded in spite of all of that. So now they're going after the rights to our body, our rights to make decisions about our own lives. Some people are even saying that we shouldn't have the right to vote anymore. I'm not making any of this up. These are all things that are currently being discussed in politics. If you think you're not brave enough, you're wrong. You are brave enough. I didn't think I was. I am. So are you. We need to do this together. So with that, I ask you to go on out there and start changing the conversation. I'm right here cheering you on. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Together, we are better. Please visit my website at hopefulist.com and remember to hit that subscribe or follow button.